Many rival fans have talked about Mohamed Salah and how his form drops off in the second half of the season. Now, not only is there some truth to that, he's actually not the only one. Today, we want to see players who are like him. These are 7 players who get worse in the second half of the season. Of course, we'll start with Mohamed Salah. It's not like he stopped scoring completely in the second half of the season, but his numbers usually drop pretty significantly. Take the 21-22 season, for example, when Liverpool were last in a title race until the very end. He scored 16 Premier League goals and provided 7 assists in the first half of the season, which included a run of 15 straight games where he got at least a goal or an assist. Then he went off to the AFCON in January, and when he got back, he only managed 7 goals and 4 assists until the end of the season, and Liverpool were unable to win the league. It happened again last season. 14 Premier League goals and 8 assists in the first half of the season. Then he went off to the AFCON, and when he returned, he only managed 4 goals and 2 assists until the end of the season. And it might just be happening again this season. He managed 18 goals and 13 assists in the first half of the season, including a run of 12 straight games providing a goal or an assist or both. He also had a record-breaking 14 Premier League goal contributions in the month of December alone. But in January, he went 2 games without scoring or assisting for the first time in the entire season. Could it really be happening again? Another player who falls into this category is Paul Pogba. You remember the 21-22 season when he provided 4 assists in the opening game of the season and already had 7 assists in the first 4 games of the season? Everyone was already saying that he was going to break Henry's record for most assists in a single Premier League season, but the fall-off was insane. I mean, it wasn't all his fault. He was injured for some time, and that really affected his form and playing time. He eventually ended up with just 1 goal and 2 assists in the second half of the season. This wasn't even the only time. In the 2019-2020 season, Pogba provided 2 assists in the opening game of the season against Chelsea, and everyone thought it was about to be an amazing season for him. But he got injured again and ended up providing just 1 assist in the second half of the season. And Pogba's not the only one who usually got affected by injuries in the second half of the season. Neymar was one of the biggest victims. Remember when it was a thing that Neymar always got injured in the second half of the season so that he could travel for his sister's birthday? Well, that alone qualifies him to be in this video. And this is actually so sad because this happened too many times in his career. For example, Neymar started the 22-23 season in truly brilliant fashion, and looking at the form he was on, everyone said that he could finally win the Ballon d'Or that year. In the first 5 games of the season, Neymar already had 13 goal contributions. Crazy. At the end of December, he had 28 goal contributions in 23 appearances in all competitions. It was set up to be an all-time season, but then he injured his ankle and was out until the end of the season. Unfortunately, that was the story of much of his career. There is another Brazilian in this video. Can you guess who it is? Take a shot in the comments and we'll see if you're right soon. But for now, let's talk about Jude Bellingham. Honestly, the reason Bellingham didn't win the 2024 Ballon d'Or was because he fell off in the second half of the season. This guy had an all-timer first half of the season. He hit the ground running after joining Real Madrid, scoring 17 goals in all competitions in the first half of the season. But in the second half, he could only manage 6 goals in all competitions. Vinny had to step in and carry the team over the line because Bellingham fell off. And it didn't just start when he moved to Madrid. The season before he moved to Spain, Bellingham had 14 goal contributions in the first half of the season for Dortmund. In the second half of the season, he managed just half that number. Will he also fall off this season? What do you guys think? Another English midfielder who's just like this is James Maddison. Last season, he started his Spurs career pretty brilliantly, but he picked up an ankle injury in November and that derailed his season, leading to his fall-off in the second half of the season. This season, he started the second half of the season fully fit, but the Everton game made it a run of 5 games without a goal or an assist. Even before Spurs, the theme was the same. In his last season at Leicester, he had 7 goals in the first half of the season. Then he picked up a knee injury in December and it derailed his season. and he only managed 3 goals in the second half of the season. This is one of the reasons why he always never makes it into the English squad for summer tournaments. Now, remember we said that there's another Brazilian on this list. Did you guess Gabriel Jesus? If you did, then you are very correct. Take a look at this season, for example. He was finally finding his form late last year, having scored 7 goals and provided 2 assists between October and January. He was about to have a brilliant second half of the season, but then he tore his ACL, ruling him out for the rest of the season and almost the whole of 2025. The same thing happened last season. He had 13 goal contributions in the first half of the season, but then he sustained a knee injury in January and it derailed his season. He ended up not scoring a single goal in the second half of the season. Now, from a former Man City striker to a current one. Yes, we have Erling Haaland on this list. Yes, he's a goal machine who will always score goals, but one major criticism about his game has been his inability to consistently show up in the biggest games. Of course, his first season at Man City was great. He scored a lot of goals and broke many records, but he failed to register a single goal contribution in the semi-finals and finals of